What's up, gang? What's up, beautiful beings? Welcome to Evolving with Jackie Gasa. So, in this episode, we're going to be talking about 7 things that I wish I knew before I turned 25. Because when I was growing up, I used to have older sisters, and I felt like they set up setting stones, or there were advices that were given to me that I personally wish I took seriously. So I felt like this video was much needed because sometimes we feel pressure and we put pressure on ourselves and it's busy, right? So this video is for anybody and everybody that feels like they need to be alignment with themselves and don't even know where to start. So the first thing that I wish I knew before turning 25 or being in my early 20s is that you don't have to have it all figured out. Actually, your 20s are a moment for reflection and a moment for you to learn more about yourself. What are the things that you like? What are the things that you don't like? What are your hobbies? What are your talents? What are the things that you can explore about yourself? How can you better express yourself? And it's important to know that as much as you don't have to have it figured out, you don't need to also be on anybody else's timeline. So I know online most of the time everybody seems like they have it together. Sometimes I feel bad myself and would want to realign myself to fit someone else's perception and all of these things, right? So it's important to understand that everybody else is on a different timeline, right? So we're all from different backgrounds. We do not all have the same opportunities, the same privileges, and basically it's just a moment or a period where you need to rediscover yourself. So Jackie at 21 looks like being in university, not even knowing if the course that she's doing is right. And I was surprised to see this comment on TikTok, this lady saying that she had went through 5 courses and wasted her dad's money. So I feel like in the first or your early 20s, it's a moment of reflection. You don't have to change courses and all the time and all of that. If you haven't sat down with yourself, especially after high school, at least take a gap year and try to evaluate yourself. What are the things that you like? Are you into fashion? Are you into graphic designing? And if you're into graphic designing, is it something that you can pursue long term? Is it a short-term course? Is it a short-term career? Is it something? How can you better position yourself in terms of your career, right? And how can you figure it out considering your talent and the things that you're really good at? The second one is healing is not an aesthetic, right? So when I started my healing journey, I was into crystals, I was into sage, I bought the incense sticks, I bought basically candles, I bought everything, right? Baths and all of these things. Although these tools are essential, they're not a healing process. They help with the healing process. So those are one of the things that I wish I knew, because I thought that buying a candle was going to help me. But even when the candle was lit, I still needed to do the inner work, right? So healing looks like crying, it looks like looking into your traumas, it looks like breaking down, it looks like confusion, right? So in that moment, that's where you find your true authentic self. The third thing that I wish I knew was that money goes where your energy is at peace, So money flows where energy is at peace. So one thing I realized that I couldn't express my true authentic self because I was looking for validation from other people, and that was not giving me peace, right? It was not giving me peace in terms of what I truly wanted, right? So I felt like I needed to be somebody else for everybody to fit me in their own persona or their own perception of who they think I am, right? And that's just their own perspective. However, I learned that when it comes to your peace, if someone is taking away your peace, then whatever they're offering is too expensive. Their presence in your life is too expensive, okay? The fourth one is relationships don't fail. They actually teach, right? So whether the relationship is platonic or it's whatever relationship, right? So if you are in a relationship, most of the time it's because they're trying to teach you something about yourself in the space that you're currently in the timeline that you're at that time in, right? So normally this relationship, they will call them karmic relationships, whether it's your sister, your mother, your cousin, or a relationship or a partner, or anything like that. So in different timelines, in different vibrations, we need people who resonate with that part of us, right? So I remember a part of myself that was insecure, and I would meet people who were insecure, and I would have to dim my light to fit that insecure persona that I initially had. And sometimes you grow, and when you grow, it means that you need to outgrow certain personalities, and certain personalities also attract certain types of people. So every connection is a classroom. So learn to forgive, release, and evolve. Those are the most important things that you can do in your life, right? Do not attach to anybody. So attachment is one of the things that I had to learn to let go of, because sometimes we have an idea of how we want things to work, or the perfect life, or how the perfect friendship should be, and you find that the other person does not resonate to the idea that you have created in your head about that relationship. And it's important to understand that if it's not in relation, it's okay to choose yourself and focus your energy on yourself. So I've lost a lot of friendship. Not really lost, but I had to let go of a lot of friendships because I had to be put in situations where I had to learn to let go of that version of Jackie that attracted that friendship, so that I can evolve into the person that I want to be. The fifth one is God's delay is never a denial. Okay, so I've had so many opportunities that could have elevated me in the friendships that I had, right? However, I realized that my character was not strong enough to take in what God has put in place, right? So for example, I had a friend, I won't mention her name, okay? So with her, it was more of, with all my friendships, it was more of growth and learning something about myself. And whichever star sign I was friends with, whether it was a Taurus or a Gemini or a Libra or whatever, I was looking into aspects of themselves that can assist me. What is it that I needed to learn about myself from their personality, right? So it's important to understand that God sometimes hides your potential. He hides your true authentic self. He hides this gift that He has in you. The reason He does that is because there's so many leeches. Light, as much as it's beautiful, it also attracts flies and all of these leeches that do not need to be there in your life. And sometimes God delays the blessing so that people can actually show themselves for who they are, because sometimes they hide themselves in the character of your innocence, that when you're now evolving, it's hard for them to clap for you. So God shows you that before you actually elevate, and then now you have more money, more problems. God has heard so many prayers about more money, more problems, that He don't want to give you money so you can have more problems. He doesn't want to give you your blessing. He doesn't want to show you your blessing so that you don't have more problems. So it's important to understand and be grateful for whatever you're going through. Even if it's an empty stomach for the day, you must be grateful for the fasting, because God, in that moment, you are also aligning, and that's where God dwells, when there's silence and you are remembering Him. You are a production of your habits, not dreams, right? So habits is like, if you want to become an actor, are you practicing your acting? Are you aligning yourself into going to theater, learning how to remember scripts and all of these things? So the person that you choose to be, when you have discovered what it is that you really like, are you in alignment, or are you putting yourself in alignment with that version of yourself, so that when the opportunity comes, you are ready and you are prepared? So those are the things that you need to look into. Okay, last but not least, the seventh one is rest is productive. So sometimes when we are discovering ourselves and finding our purpose, we tend to rampage, and we just want to get everything right. So one thing I realized that, and I learned this the hard way, that sometimes I would be supercharged for 2 weeks. Supercharged, I'm working, terms of like maybe meetings, emails, and all of these things, right? And then I get a burnout, and I get a burnout for another 2 weeks. I don't want to work. I dread working, right? And that also sends me back. So those are one of the things that you need to be cognizant of, that rest is very important, even if it's just setting up an hour a day to rest, right? Just to rest. No scrolling on the phone, you're literally just taking a rest. You are recharging your body. So that recharge is important to also note that it gets you going, right? It's like a reboot to your purpose. You don't hate what you're doing, because sometimes I would hate what I'm doing. I'd hate it as much as it's beautiful, it looks good and all of these things, but it's like sometimes it's just like too much, especially when you're not taking a rest. So in order for you to not hate what you love, you have to take the necessary rest. So I'll say those are the 7 things that I wish I knew before the age of 25, so that I can put less pressure on myself, right? And I'm just gonna add a bonus, right? A bonus would be that you don't have to drink, you don't have to smoke, you don't have to go out and party, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to engage in sexual intercourse and all of these things just because your friends are doing it. You don't have to be anybody else that another person is being if it doesn't align with you. I have found myself in situations that I felt like I shouldn't have been in had I been true to myself, right? I'm not saying that I haven't partied. I have partied and all of these things, and I don't have regrets over anything that I have done. However, it's important to do things for yourself. Don't do things because your friends are doing it, because at the end of the day, you are the ones that are going to stay. You're going to stay in that energy. And sometimes we pick up habits that we cannot get rid of because we were doing things just because our friends were doing it. And I have been put in situations, especially when it comes to alcohol and getting intoxicated, right? You find yourself that you start making decisions that you normally not do, or normally you make decisions that you wouldn't do if you were sober, right? You make, like jumping out of a moving car and all of those things, and I am for having experiences, but there's some things that you don't have to, especially when it comes to getting intoxicated. It's a different world and it exposes you to dangers and all of these things. So that is a bonus of one of the things that I wish I knew, which is setting a stance for myself and just deciding that I am going to be this person. And when it comes to that, no thank you, which I have done so many times, no thank you. And it's okay to also be a bummer, to be that one that chooses to be different, because I've always been, my friends would be uncomfortable to do certain things in front of me because they knew that I was not about that life, whether it's gossiping, whether it's trying out things that they shouldn't be trying, you know what I mean? Because when you live a party life, that's what you also realize, that people do a lot of things and you'll be shocked at what your friends are willing to do, right? So those are some of the things that I have learned before turning, that I wish I had known before turning 25. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and also like this video, and that's what's up. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.